Yeah, it was stupid. I didn't. Here we go. Let me move this on the side like that. All right, here. It's a battle of the bigs in Serie A and a good old-fashioned Der Klassiker in the top of the Bundesliga table.
In Spain, we have a top 4 matchup to stay in European competition conversations. Man, say that 5 times fast. And in the Prem, we see which of the Reds will continue to slide. All this and more in this episode 94 of the No Business Soccer Podcast. News, kick us off.
Let's dig in. Welcome back to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Snooze, and we got the full fam today. J-Fam, the Brainiac hanging out in the back. Danny P on the 1s and 2s, but of course, everybody's favorite hype man. Hype man Vic, what you sipping on, dog?
Well, I got a little bit lucky this past week. I did get a stag, if you know what a stag is. Not like that, but
like a woman? Is that what they call it?
No, we're talking about bourbon right now. First things first.
Oh, okay.
I did find a stag, but that's not what I was excited about. It was this right here, Jack Daniel's, the Heritage Barrel. It's their toasted barrel that they have. Super sweet.
So you
really
did
hard
or
to
you
find
didn't
right now.
Find a woman? I don't understand what you're saying right now.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I got it.
All right.
I found
Stag,
something better.
Just
though.
alcohol. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Not only that, I went to Garrison Brothers. I don't know if you can barely see it, but I went to Garrison Brothers Distillery, did the tour twice because I got pretty liquored up. It was great. And the only reason I'm not drinking Garrison Brothers because I drank so much of it that I wanted to change the thing. So while I take a sip of this, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We talk about bourbon here a little bit, and then we move on to European soccer. But hey, it's pretty fun, and it's the best way to tell YouTube that, hey, we're pretty cool to hang out with. Cheers.
Clink.
Beautiful ring.
And we have a ton to talk about. You know what? Let's give my boy, what are the notes? Go ahead. I know you want to talk about it.
Really, really sweet. If you had anything Jack Daniels, you get this like banana bread kind of flavor, like toasted bananas. Not so much on this one. There's a little bit. Yeah, a lot of it. Not so much on this one because it's a toasted barrel. There's way more sugars coming out of it. It tastes a little bit kind of like raspberries too. So, but super good, super sweet. And it's 100 proof, which is perfect.
Enough of that. All right. It tastes like alcohol. They all taste like alcohol. All right. We have a full slate of action this weekend on deck, and we're going to talk about it all. We're going to talk about the Serie A, Premier League, La Liga, and of course the Bundesliga. We have big matches all up and down. I was going to say the coast, but the continent, I guess we'll call it. And I'm looking forward to all of it. But before we go over there, we have to start boots on the ground in Austin, Texas with the Austin FC Minute.
Yes, sir. And like we talked about 10 days ago, Austin FC did secure their spot in the MLS playoffs. But now we're getting a clear picture of the actual playoff picture. And now Austin FC have secured the number 6 spot no matter what. So no matter what happens on decision day coming this Saturday night, we get the number 6 spot. And that spot. And that means Austin FC will get a home game. Trust me, Q2 has already charged me for the damn ticket. So we will play whoever the number 3 seed is. And the number 3 seed comes down to 3 teams, as you can see to the table. On the table there, it is either going to be San Diego, LAFC, or Colorado. And all of them are just 1 point away from each other. So whichever one ends up in the number 3 spot is who we will take on. San Diego plays Portland, who have also secured a spot, but they're playing to stay out of the wild card round. LAFC play Colorado, who need a win to even, and some help to even sneak into the wild card round of the playoffs. And all that is to say that's not just going to be a pushover game for San Diego and LAFC, so they need to play. And they need to play because Minnesota play LA Galaxy, who have had a historically bad year and were eliminated from playoff contention like 14 games in. It was pretty bad. It was really terrible. So you can probably expect Minnesota to get some points. And if they do, they might jump LAFC, and we're hoping for LAFC number 3 because we got to see Son, right? We want to see Son here. And
that would be really cool.
Yeah, if they do come, that would be Halloween weekend. So hopefully you'll be there, Snooze. Hopefully you'll be there, Snooze, and hopefully Son will be here. and
I'm off.
Longa.
So that'd be fun.
There you go. But
Dang,
that's your
I
playoff
didn't know
picture.
that.
Yeah, that's your playoff picture. Hopefully LAFC stay in third, and we will see. It's going to be a good decision day coming this Saturday.
Okay, well, we have a lot to look forward to on the shores of Austin, Texas. That's not the word I was looking for.
Auditorium shores.
Hanging out.
Shore.
Auditorium. Like, that's about hype man. That's about hype man right there.
I got you.
Also need to address, I look super pale today and we can't figure out why. Maybe it's the black shirt. I just got to call it out because I'm like self-conscious over here. I don't know what's going on. Usually I'm like much more tan, like a Cubano or something.
I got some rosy red cheeks too. I don't know.
Yeah, you look like you have more skin, and like I'm a little bit taller and darker than you. You know what I mean? So it's just weird that you're not right now. Anyway, okay. We're off track here. Let's jump into it because we have a lot to talk about. And I think, Vic, it's time to start in Italy.
Let's do it to Serie A.
And also, before we jump into this, I'm playing Danny P in some American style fantasy football this week. So, we got to throw some shade. He might be throwing some random stuff in while I'm talking just because he's trying to throw me off my game. But he knows that I'm still going to be at the top and I'm probably going to end up beating him. So we got to see how it goes. Anyway, nobody cares about your fantasy team, Vic. Just stop talking about it. I think we have a lot to talk about here because there's a one big matchup, but there's a lot of matchups between teams that have a lot on the line. They have a lot to prove to us still. So with that in mind, Vic, let's jump into it.
Let's do it. We'll start in Serie A match day 7 on Saturday as Lecce, the Milkmen, welcome the newcomers Sassuolo.
Yes, the Milkmen are starting to feel themselves after getting their first win of the season last time out against Parma, and they drew with Bologna the week before that, so they're on a bit of a streak. But now they get a surging Sassuolo side that's won 3 of their last 5 and made it back-to-back wins with the win over Verona last match day. That one's surprisingly going to be good. A little bit under the table good.
And speaking of newcomers, we have Pisa welcoming Verona in an early relegation battle.
Yeah, speaking of Verona, they get the current bottom of the table leader, if you call them leaders, in Pisa. I don't know if Verona actually are this bad or if it's just a slump, but either way, this is a 6-pointer and 3 points is massive for either side.
And our next matchup has the defending champions Napoli going on the road to take on Torino.
Torino are still struggling to find their form and have given up the most goals in Serie A going into match day 7. And it's bad news because Napoli are coming to town with the brick wall that is Milinkovic-Savic, who is loaned out to Napoli by none other than Torino. So, yeah, you give up your top goal keeper in Serie A, and guess what? You give a lot of goals up, and Napoli's coming to town with them.
And then we end Saturday with number 2 versus number 4, Roma welcoming Inter.
This one I'm excited to see. There's so many different story points here, talking points, headlines, whatever you want to call them. But I think it's fair to say that Inter would have expected to take a bit of a step back moving from Inzaghi to Chivu this season, but they're right there towards the top of the table, right there in the mix and score. They're the top scoring club in Serie A by 5 goals already and sitting in the top 4, only 3 points off of table toppers Napoli. And while Gasperini is more of a known commodity in the league, he has Roma in second place, and now his Roma side are complete opposites from the Atalanta side, the hot Atlanta, the AT Aliens. Roma are defensively sound and not scoring a ton, which, Atalanta, not say that they weren't defensively sound, but they were known for just the all-out attacking threat, all-out attacking during these matches. They were fun to watch. Retegui, RIP, he didn't die. He just went to the Saudi league. He's making a lot of money right now, but it was fun watching him with Atalanta. But either way, now Roma with Gasperini, they're not scoring a ton of goals. They're not the most fun to watch, but it's obviously effective having them in second. This match could give us much more clarity on how these clubs will look come to the end of the season, and I can't wait for it.
And then we start off Sunday as Juve go on the road to the beautiful Como.
Como come in having only won twice in their first 6 matches in Serie A. And while they've been a bit underwhelming compared to their offseason expectations, they're still sitting in 8th in the table with just a single loss on their record. Juve, on the other hand, have started doing that thing again where they just draw a lot, Vic. Remember how it happened last season? They're doing it again. It's been 3 straight draws for Juve and back-to-back draws for Como, which tells me the odds are that this one probably ends in a draw.
And then continuing on Sunday, we have Genoa taking on Parma.
Genoa have lost 4 of their first 6 matches in Serie A and have yet to win a single match, putting Patrick Vieira under pressure. Parma haven't been too much better, but if Genoa lose again, it would make 4 consecutive losses, and I don't really know how much longer Patrick Vieira has if he continues to lose these matches.
Our next matchup has Bologna going on the road to take on Cagliari.
Cagliari are perfectly balanced, as Vic would say, and it means they're perfectly mid-table at the moment. Bologna is shooting for a bit higher in the table than 7th, and this should be a great opportunity for them to get 3 points.
Oop, took a sip of bourbon there. My bad. Our next matchup has Lazio going on the road to take on the AT Allianz Atalanta.
Last season, this might have been a much more highly anticipated matchup, but our Lazio have been pretty disappointing so far this season, and Atalanta come in as one of the only 2 undefeated teams in Serie A, but the issue is they also lead the league in draws with 4. I don't really see Lazio getting the upset on the road, especially just the way they've been playing recently, but they've got to be better than what they've shown so far. I mean, they got to be, right? Like it's got to turn around sometime. Maybe not. I don't know.
And then from one stomping round to the next, we have our Fiorentina going on the road to take on Milan.
Milan, they have beaten the champs Napoli and drawn with Juve in back-to-back week heading into the break, but they did not look good in that matchup with Juve. You remember Pulisic missed a penalty, and they just generally didn't have it. I mean, both sides kind of looked like they were, thinking about the break is the best way I can put it. The break probably came at a good time for them, though, because if they can get things right, they can make sure that they get back on track before things get ugly. But the complete opposite can be said about Fiorentina, who have looked sluggish to start the season, but they showed signs of life in their last match against Roma, and Moise Kean appeared to be back in form. Let's hope he picks up where he left off.
And then we have Monday Night Football, and it's a battle of the Nazis as Cremonese take on Udinese.
Oh, Nazis. It's 2 mid-table teams going at it, and unfortunately, Cremonese has lost their steam a little bit lately, but Udinese haven't been great in their last 3 matches. I can see this being a get-right spot for both sides if they can take advantage. I know Vic says I like to sit on the fence. I really am this one. I don't know who I'm going for, but I think that if you are in either camp, you are not afraid of the other team, which should make for a good match. This one's a solid Monday night matchup for me. I'm excited for it.
Monday Night Football. I think Battle of the Nazis. There's got to be something coming up soon, right? It's got to be a big thing. It's going to catch on, right?
Yeah. I like it. It's catchy.
But those are your that's your match day 7 in Serie A. Let's go ahead and talk about the top matches and headlines for Serie A on match day 7. And of course, we start with number 1, Roma taking on Inter.
Right. You're not going to be able to watch all of them. So we're going to tell you which ones to watch. And even if we didn't tell you, probably we're going to tune into this match anyway. We've got a super interesting matchup on deck as the top scoring team in Serie A and Inter takes on the stingiest defensive side in Roma. Both clubs come in on 3-game winning streaks, and it would be a statement win for Chivu or for Gasperini. Let's go. Let's hope there's a winner, because a draw would kind of take it'd make a lackluster result.
And number 2, we have Como welcoming Juve.
The way I'm looking at this matchup is that these teams are just too good to continue drawing this much. And I'm hoping that the break rejuvenates them and that they're able to get their goal scoring back in form, and they go back and forth in this one, because there's quality on both sides of this match. It should be fun.
And then number 3, our old stomping grounds, Fiorentina going on the road to take on Milan.
Outside of the last matchup, Allegri has had this Milan side humming and in the top 3 of the table. On paper, this match just seems weird to call out because it's Fiorentina who are in 17th. But like I mentioned, Fiorentina, they haven't looked great, but Moise Kean hasn't been great all season until this last matchup against Roma, where he showed out. He could have had a hat trick if he had a little bit better luck. And of course, whenever he's clicking, so is our Viola. So let's see if they can get it going against Milan.
And those are your top matches and headlines for Serie A match day 7. I got to say, Fiorentina already flirting with the relegation zone. Not very good. Number 17, just above that. I think they're tied, right? They have 3 points.
It's been pretty bad. That's why I'm excited to see if they can pick it up, because I mean, it's unfortunate that they had their best game of the season against Roma. They still lost. I mean, there's no moral victories in a loss, I guess, because at the end of the day, you need the points to stay up. But man, to go from that to a match against Milan, that's tough. But I feel like they can. Yeah, a draw is not out of the realm of possibilities here. I'm excited for it. We'll see.
And then I also thought, I think Pulisic is injured, right? He said it might be out for like a month.
Oh, is he right from the international break?
Yeah, I think they just announced it today. So even more opportunity, Fiorentina. Even more opportunity. They're not going to have Captain America there for them. Yeah,
dude's been their best player by far. If he's out, then that's not going to be good. You know what? That's when did we say that game was? It was on Sunday. It's the headliner on Sunday. Okay. I'm excited more. I'm more not that I'm anything against Milan. It's nothing, but Fiorentina
it sounds like.
No. More. It's because Fiorentina, I don't know, it's just soft spot, man. You know, it's just nostalgic. So let's see if they can do it. Okay,
we'll see.
Any other matches we want to discuss, sir?
All good on my end.
Okay, well, I think let's move right along. Let's go ahead to Germany.
Let's do it. To Bundesliga.
Man,
I see a little Oktoberfest everywhere around Austin, and I'm like, I want to go.
It's the festival. It is the festival season.
It's gonna be hard to live up to, though. You know, we've been to the real thing.
Is Wurstfest coming up though? The one in it's like it should be November, right?
Yeah, that's next month.
Okay. Yeah, well,
that one's always fun.
My wife will probably say no, but actually, she already did say no. She's like, no, we need to save money because we're going to Europe,
that's right.
It's okay.
You and your Christmas festivals.
Yes.
Christmas shops.
By the way, I've been on the horn, as some people say, with the club Basel because I can't get my tickets online. I've been trying. So if anybody is from Basel watching this, is very, very slim chance. Help me out. I'm trying to go see the team. I'm trying to go see them play Aston Villa in the Conference League. Europa League, sorry. Look, they're going to be like, this guy doesn't even know what he's talking about. So Europa League.
Yeah. Now you're not going to get your tickets,
but let's take it back to Germany, okay?
Yeah, let's do it. We'll go on and move to go over your matches for match day 7 in Bundesliga. And it starts with a Friday night matchup as Union Berlin take on Mönchengladbach.
One of these teams got to bounce back in a spotlighted game on a Friday night. Now, we know Union Berlin is a hard team to get a point on the road, but I just think they have the upper hand here because Gladbach haven't shown signs of life yet at all this season, really. And Union Berlin is on the bucket list of places to go, so I think they can get it done.
And then we move on to Saturday as a team that's finally showing some signs of life. Bayer Leverkusen go on the road to take on Mainz.
Yeah, poor Mainz is struggling in the Bundesliga bad, and they have the added European fixtures this season. They get Leverkusen as they are on the ascension under Kasper Hjulmand, and if Mainz didn't fix anything at the break, this one probably gets ugly pretty quick.
And then we go on with our Saturday as RB Leipzig welcome Hamburg.
Leipzig looks like they'll be able to beat anyone in the Bundesliga outside of Dortmund and Bayern, and that's bad news for a Hamburg side who have won 2 of the last 3 games and are sitting right at mid-table. If they can get a win, or if they can even get a point from this one, it is a big, big deal for Hamburg.
And then we have Köln looking to stay back on track as they welcome Augsburg.
Köln bounced back from their losing skid with a win over Hoffenheim last time out, and they have a good chance to go on a run with Augsburg coming to town. The Little Bushes did beat Wolfsburg in their last match, but 2 things on that result. Wolfsburg, 1, are not as good as I thought they were going to be, as most people thought they would be coming into the season. And 2, before that win, Augsburg had lost 4 straight matches. So it's not like they are on some kind of magical run of their own. They were actually, they beat up on a team they should have beat up on, and they were losing before that. I think Köln have a good chance of getting 3 points here, and, the little goats that could.
And speaking of getting 3 points, these are 2 teams that are in desperate need of some points as Heidenheim welcome Werder Bremen.
Yeah, the Double H looks like they're going to be maybe the worst team in the Bundesliga. We'll have to find out. But it's going to come to the end of the season, and we'll probably end up seeing them towards the bottom of the table. Werder, though, they're fighting to be mid-table, and there's not too much analysis needed from this one. Werder are a better Werder are a better side, and they have more quality in the squad. I think they get it done here.
And then we move on as Wolfsburg have a tall task in front of them as they welcome on Stuttgart.
I'm starting to panic for Wolves. I really am. I thought they would be better, as I mentioned a second ago, but the high coming in, I was high on them coming into the season, and now it's kind of things are starting to what's the saying? The rubber meets the road, and it doesn't seem like it's going to work out. They've lost 3 straight and only won once this season. And on the other side of the pitch is Stuttgart, who Seb Hones has them playing much better. They're playing like a team, the team that they played, the team that they were a couple seasons ago when they were challenging for the title. They just look way better now, and I don't feel like Wolfsburg are at the moment any kind of test for them. This might be a big win for Stuttgart.
And then we end our Saturday. It's the prime time slot for Saturday. It's Der Klassiker. It's Bayern versus Dortmund.
Yeah, the Der Klassiker. It's like that's, you can't say a better derby, like Der Klassiker. And I would say that prior to Xabi's time in Leverkusen, Dortmund were the only team that looked like they have a chance to challenge Bayern. And it's looking like after his time, it's the same situation. It's a very small chance that Dortmund gets a win here. But with the win, Dortmund would fully put themselves in the title race with Bayern because it would only be a 1-point gap. I do got to call out, though, that Kompany has not beat Dortmund yet as manager of Bayern. In fact, in the last 3 Der Klassikers in the Bundesliga, they've ended with 2 draws and a 2-0 win for Dortmund. Now, the loss was under Thomas Tuchel, but still, Dortmund, they just seem to have a way to figure out Bayern, and especially Bayern under Kompany. That's why this one is not only important, but it's super interesting as well.
And then we move on to Sunday as we have number 7 versus number 8, Freiburg taking on Eintracht Frankfurt.
Those numbers you heard there just kind of speak to what I wanted to say, because both clubs have been underwhelming in the first 6 Bundesliga matches, and neither side won in their last matches. Eintracht actually come in having lost 3 of their last 5, and it's a gut check match between these two sides for sure.
And then we close out our match day 7 with St. Pauli welcoming Hoffenheim.
Neither side has won in their past 3 matches, and St. Pauli has lost 3 straight matches. Hoffenheim will feel like they deserved at least a point from their match with Köln, and it makes for a good Sunday afternoon headliner between struggling mid-table teams.
And those are your matches for, almost said Premier League. I'm getting ahead of myself. Bundesliga match day 7. Some interesting matches from there. On also some of those teams that you're hoping have some sort of life because they're taking on some of the top 4 teams.
I bet someone knows, or I bet most people know what one of the headlines is going to be for this weekend, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. Is that like are you alluding something I'm supposed to say, or?
No. I'm just mean
okay.
There's obviously one big game that What I was saying was so obvious that you just didn't even know.
I thought you were like trying to egg me on to say something. I was like, did I miss something in rehearsal?
I was trying to like help you into the thing, and then you're just like, what? Like
we will go into it. Pretend none of that happened. No biz fam. As we go into our top matches and headlines for Bundesliga match day 7, and of course it starts out with what Snooze was trying to allude to and what everyone's going to be watching, Der Klassiker.
Realistically, this season rides on this match for Dortmund. Bayern are a perfect 6 wins from 6 and already 4 points clear at the top of the table. If Bayern were to get a win here and push that gap to 7, I know it sounds crazy, but it could be over because I just don't see this Bayern team dropping too many points.
And number 2, we have Freiburg taking on Eintracht Frankfurt.
Has selling off your best players finally caught up to Eintracht now that they have Champions League fixtures to worry about? Did Schuster's men overachieve last year in Freiburg, the first season post-Christian strike? These are all questions that we have right now because last season, these teams looked way better than they do right now. There are a lot of questions surrounding both of these clubs, and I'm just excited to see this one play out because a win either way kind of tells us a lot more about the team that's losing. If that makes any sense, because man, there's a lot of questions.
Yes, sir. And those are your top matches and headlines for Bundesliga match day 7. Their Klassiker is going to be, it has its own time slot, and it's going to be the talk of, or pretty much what everybody's going to be watching on Saturday. So can't wait.
For sure. And you know, my wife wants to go to, you know, just bless her. She wants to go to a fall festival pumpkin patch thing Saturday morning. And like, what am I going to tell her? No, you know, like my daughter wants, you know, yes, that's what you tell her. Right. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, what time does it open? And it's like 10 o'clock. All right, cool. Well, I guess I'm going to miss this match, but I'm going to have it on my phone. I'll be watching it because I think, we'll get to some of the other games, but like looking at, we just went over Inter and Roma. There you go. And that's probably a little later. So I don't know, man. Anyway, I'm not going to complain. I'll watch the match regardless, either live or on a replay. But that's just, you know, it's way more fun whenever you get to watch it live. And we have a Classico coming up in a couple weeks too, I think. So a lot of big matches coming up, but it all starts with their Classiker. In
we're here for
the Bundesliga. Okay. Any other matches or teams that we want to talk about, Vic, before moving on?
All good for Bundesliga.
Okay. Let's do it then. Let's go to Spain.
Let's do it to La Liga.
You know, if you recall, the last time we were in La Liga, we saw Barcelona get upset by a Sevilla side that had no business at podcast. No business beating them. Our little mighty Elche that could ended up getting their first loss, and man, it's just a weird match day 8, but a lot to look forward to in match day 9, and some big clubs going at it, Vic.
Yes, sir. So let's go ahead and get into match day 9 and go over the matches we have, and they all starts on Friday as the newcomers Oviedo welcome Espanyol.
Espanyol were on a decent run for a bit, actually, but now that's just one win in their last 5 matches, and they're slowly trickling down the table. Oviedo haven't been a terribly tough side to beat, even though they're outside of the bottom 3, but could 3 points for either side really start to push them up the table? I think Espanyol sees that as a yes, and they probably get it done.
And then we move on to Saturday as Sevilla, still riding high, welcome up Mallorca. I almost said New Yorka for some reason.
New York,
so weird.
Yeah.
Mallorca.
Sevilla are at home in the top 6, just coming off a game where they whooped up on Barca, and now they get bottom of the table, Mallorca. I think there's not too much to say here, Vic. I think Sevilla keep the train rolling against New Yorka.
Speaking of keeping the train rolling, Girona will go into Barcelona, and Barcelona might be just a little teed off from last week.
The injuries are starting to stack up for Barca, though, as they look to bounce back from at a home game against Girona. Already ruled out for this game, Vic, is Rafinha, Dani Olmo, Lewandowski, Xavi, and there's also a slathering, I don't know the other word, of other players that are injured. But the good thing is they should be getting back their boy Lamine Yamal off the bench at least, as he seems to be ready to come back from his groin injury. That was me, like a groin sound. Anyway, all right. Even with all the injuries, though, I think that Barca just have enough to get past Girona, regardless of how many world-class players they have on the pitch.
We will see. And then we go into a very meaty matchup as number 3 take on number 4, Villareal. Welcome Real Betis.
Betis come in on 3 straight wins in La Liga and are starting to fire on all cylinders. But prior to that loss against Real Madrid, Villarreal were on a 3-game win streak of their own. Looking at the results of this matchup, Villarreal have the upper hand because the home team in this specific matchup between Villarreal and Betis has won in the last 5 matches between these sides. So if history holds true, Villarreal get this one done.
And then we end our Saturday as Osasuna go on the road to take on Atletico Madrid, who are trying to stay in the European conversations.
Atleti still only have 1 loss on their record in La Liga, and that's why they sit 5th in the table at the moment, but they've drawn half of their matches so far. Osasuna are a pesky mid-table side who seem to pop up with a win now and again. Wow, that is a tongue twister right there. But this is exactly the type of team that Atleti has struggled with recently to get 3 points from.
And then we open up Sunday as Elche. We get to see if they are really the real deal, welcoming Athletic Club.
The mighty Elche, okay? We're finally handed their first loss at the hands of Alaves back in match day 8. And if they're going to get back on track, they're going to have to get through Athletic Club, who, go figure, get Nico Williams back last match, and they win for the first time since he's been injured. They really needed him. He's back, and this is going to make it even tougher, even more tough. Tougher? Is that better? Whatever. For Elche.
Right. Yeah,
all right.
Right.
Okay. Well, yeah.
And we continue our Sunday with two teams again in desperate need of points. Celta Vigo welcoming Real Sociedad.
Two of the surprisingly struggling sides this season go head-to-head, and they'll both be desperate for a win in 16 total matches, Vic, between these two combined. They are combining for one win this season. Celta could lean on the fact that they've only lost twice, and they're getting used to the European schedule along the way as well. But Real Sociedad have lost 5 of their first 8 matches in La Liga after being terrible last season. It just doesn't seem like it's going to work out for Sergio Francisco in San Sebastian.
And then our next matchup has Levante taking on Rayo Vallecano, both with wins the past week, trying to keep the train rolling.
Another match between table neighbors. Is that a thing we can do? Like they're neighbors in the table. Anyway, we'll make it work. But yeah, right. And so it's another match between table neighbors, and both sides are coming off a win last time out. Sorry, when I said it fast, it sounded weird. Table neighbors, like sounds like a slur almost. Like, man, I don't know that. Anyway, all right, but it come off a win last time out. Rayo's win over Real Sociedad stopped a 5-match winless run in La Liga, and it was their first win since back in match day 1. Levante are doing pretty damn good for a promoted side, but you would think that Rayo has the pedigree and the experience to get 3 points here, especially how they ended last season. And I know we got to stop talking about last season because we're already, almost 10 games, and we're a quarter in almost. So you know what? At the quarter mark, we will stop talking about last season. How about that?
You got it. We will end our Sunday as Real Madrid try to stay on top of the table as they go to Getafe, who are mid-table.
And for his greatest thing started for Getafe. They've now only won once in their past 5 games. Madrid showed that the loss to Atleti was just a blip on the radar, and they seem to be all the way back in form and should win this one.
And then we have Monday Night Football as Alaves welcome Valencia.
Valencia come into Alaves riding the struggle bus and with just 1 win in 5 matches, but Alaves haven't been much better. I feel like this match will tell us a lot about both sides because on one hand, Alaves seem to be overachieving, and on the other, Valencia seem just too talented to be really in the relegation scrap is kind of where they're leaning, and I don't think they end up being there because they're just too good. I guess we're about to find out, but I think Valencia has the pedigree to get this one done.
Yes, sir. And those are your matches for match day 9 in La Liga. Some really juicy matchups in there and some that you might just forget. But here are some of the things, the top matches and headlines that we have for La Liga in match day 9. And of course, it starts with number 1, number 3 versus number 4, Real Betis going on the road to take on Villareal.
Yes, sir. And we put these together so that in case you're looking at the full slate of European games, you don't know which ones to pick out of La Liga. We're going to tell you them right now because the number 1 match, Villareal Betis, it's go time. It's going to be fun. It's a battle between 2 of the other top 6 clubs in La Liga. And I'm talking about outside of Barcelona and Madrid, of course. This time, though, both of these clubs are in the top 4 of the table. And it is a massive game between 2 teams that have massive aspirations for the end of the season.
And moving on to number 2, we have Elche taking on Athletic Club.
Yup, I'm choosing this match over Barca and Real's matches. I know that sounds weird, but it's because I am not ready to give up on our little Elche that could yet. In a match that they are home underdogs to an Athletic Club, I mean, it's just I want Elche to prove to me that they are no longer good, or not good, but no longer they were like towards the top of the table, right? And the European places, I got to see it before I believe it because I saw too much of them to just fall off now and not get back on the train. Athletic Club, though, they're much better with Nico Williams. They probably end up winning this one, but Vic, this one's a tough one. Your uncle lived in Bilbao, so we've always had a soft spot for Athletic Club, but man, what else you were doing was really cool.
I agree. And we will finish up with our number 3 matchup, Celta Vigo welcoming Real Sociedad.
This one's a top one to watch for the headlines that could come out of this match with a bad result. Either way, neither of these clubs should be down in the table where they are, and yet both sides haven't shown any real fight this season. They have a lot to prove, and they're going to be dragging themselves out of the relegation scrap if they can get a win.
And those are your top matches and headlines for La Liga Match Day 9. Your no business top headlines and matchups. Some juicy ones in there. And then you have Celta Vigo and Real Sociedad, bottom of the table matchup. But, we're getting to the point where those are going to start mattering. Those points that you see early in the season that slip out of your hands will really bite you in the ass come at the end of the season. So,
but the fact that you're saying it like that, how they're at the bottom of the table, that's why it's one to watch, because these clubs should not be there. Real Sociedad haven't been I think this is the first time they've skipped out on Europe in 5 years. So they don't make Europe for the first time, and now they're in a relegation scrap. That is not good. Celta, they were in the Europa League, or they're in the Conference League, I believe. So I mean, it's just crazy to see that these clubs are almost a quarter into the season and struggling this bad. I don't expect them to be down there for long. They're just too good compared to the teams around them. But, how long can we say that, Vic? How many weeks can we say, they're way too good to be down there, but they're still down there. So,
yeah, we'll see in a couple more. And, bookmark this. We'll figure out here in maybe like a month or two. We'll see. We'll revisit.
We'll check back in with Celta and Real Sociedad.
Yeah.
Real Sociedad, too, they have no excuse. There's no European matches. They usually are up there in the Conference League or in the Europa League. Nothing. They're just one game a week and just sucking in them. So, what are you doing? Why is that not working? Anyway, Celta, though, they really, really are on the struggle bus. I don't know what's going on. They're not losing matches, though. They are drawing a lot, which, whatever. People are probably like, why are we not talking about Barcelona and Real Madrid? Because everybody talks about those matches. You're going to hear about all the headlines, regardless of if we talk about them. We're going to highlight some other stuff, okay? Get off our case. All right, Vic. Anything else in La Liga?
Nothing else. Get off our case. That's it.
Yeah. And just that's something that Ray would have said, right?
Right. Yeah. Scram.
Back up, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
I hope you watch this. Okay.
I can do this all day. So we can go. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's go to England.
Let's do it to the Prem.
And
the Prem
matchups that I've been looking forward to all season is coming up, and it's not one that you would expect. So I'll leave that as a little cliffhanger, but just know.
Okay. A little foreshadowing there. Look at you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and break into it as we have Premier League Match Day 8. We'll go into the matches that we have starting Saturday with Nottingham Forest welcoming Chelsea.
With rumors of Forest already getting restless with Ange Postecoglou after failing to win any of his first 7 matches in charge of the club. This matchup against a Chelsea side who just beat the champs in their last match is crucial. Does Ange need to win to save his job? I would think that a draw could probably do it, but a loss, I mean, even though it's Chelsea, man, they're starting to stack up.
And then we move on Saturday as we have the newcomers Sunderland taking on Wolverhampton.
Sunderland are off to a flying start in the Prem, needing just a point to match Southampton's total from last year, as in total points from last year. They may be our best chance at seeing a promoted side stay up, and that's why this match with Wolves will be telling. Wolves look like one of the worst teams in the Prem, and if Sunderland can get all 3 points here, it would be huge.
And then we continue on with another battle of the newly promoted teams as Leeds go on the road to take on Burnley.
Yeah, I guess we can call this a 6-pointer because it is newly promoted sides. And as recent history would tell us, these guys don't stay up very long. So the fight to stay up, it just keeps getting more and more muddy. I think the question is, do we expect West Ham, Forest, Brentford, and Wolves to be serious relegation candidates? Because if the answer is yes, then the result here is massive for both sides. We're used to 3 relegation spots being saved for those promoted teams, but Leeds and Burnley, Sunderland, we just talked about them, they're doing way better than we usually see. Burnley is the worst of the bunch, and they beat Sunderland. So I don't know. It's just it's an interesting pod of promoted teams this year, Vic. Been fun.
And then we go from the relegation zone up to the European competitions as number 6 Crystal Palace welcome number 4 Bournemouth.
And this is the one I was talking about. This is the one I've been looking forward to because these teams, they're teams that are I want to say overachieving because that sounds disrespectful. They are surprising. Crystal Palace finally got their first loss of the season at the hands of Everton, of all clubs. Who would have thought? But they're still sitting pretty in the table, but not as good as Bournemouth, who are currently in fourth. They're in the Champions League spots. And with Semenyo and the way his team is playing at the moment, they might just be the informed team in the Prem outside of Arsenal. It's a big match between the two biggest surprises in the Prem this season.
We go from the bottom to the top and now to mid-table as Brighton welcome Newcastle.
Similar to Palace and Bournemouth, it's two similar sides going head-to-head. They are similar, how many times can I say that word, in the fact that both sides would have expected to be playing much better. So a mid-table match feels weird between these two, but a win gets either side back on track and with momentum, especially Newcastle. They got into the Champions League last year. I think they expect to be way better this year, but of course, guy over there in the Liverpool red now kind of threw them off at the beginning of the season.
And then we have two top 10 teams, something Everton's not used to hearing, as Everton go on the road to take on Man City.
It's been a while since we've had a mid-table Everton just chugging along and being tough to beat. They sit eighth. They sit eighth coming into this match, fresh off beating Crystal Palace. City are starting to hit their stride, though, and will be a tough one for them to get a point off of, especially away from the Hill Dickinson Stadium. I don't know if there's a better stadium name.
And then we close out our Saturday as our table leaders Arsenal go on the road to take on Fulham.
Fulham are having a bit of a rough start in the first quarter of the season, and it won't get much easier with the table-topping Gunners coming to Craven Cottage. The aura around Arsenal feels like this is their best chance to get a title. I'm not saying that they are favorites or that they even should win. I'm just saying that the aura around them feels like this is their best chance, and it's a scary proposition for a struggling Fulham side.
And then we go on to Sunday as Aston Villa go on the road to take on Tottenham.
For as much as it feels like Spurs have struggled thus far this season, they sit in third in the table, tied with the second lowest goals allowed and third highest goals for. Villa come into Tottenham Hotspur Stadium having only lost once in their last 5 matches and off back-to-back wins, so then they're not too shabby. This one should be very good. Hopefully Spurs can get it done, though, right, Vic?
We'll see. We will end our Sunday as Manchester United look to take advantage of the sliding Liverpool going into Liverpool.
United always seem to do just enough to keep Amorim out of the fire, but dragging him back in with just a few more results after that. This is how I described their win over Sunderland last time out. There's just no continuity with them. Liverpool, while not at the same level of chaos as Manchester United, come in on a bit of a slump, having lost their last 3 matches in all competitions. Lost my breath there. I would expect Liverpool to fix things before United does, and this match is at Anfield, so it's going to be even harder. It's hard for me to see this United side leaving with anything other than a loss, but, it's a derby for a reason.
And then we go on to Monday Night Football as West Ham welcome Brentford.
West Ham feel like a club in turmoil, and even with Nuno in charge, they're going to find it hard to beat a tough Brentford side. Looking at the past 5 results for the Bees, it's 3 losses and a win and a draw, and it doesn't seem that impressive. But for a team that we know was gutted in the offseason, I think that we all expected to be playing much, much worse. I don't see both sides. They should be safe from the relegation scrap. They're not right now, or at least West Ham is kind of teetering on that point. But, man, this match is so interesting because of the fact that these are the clubs that shouldn't be there. Kind of like we talked about earlier with Real Sociedad and Celta Vigo. Like, these clubs shouldn't be in the relegation scrap. Maybe a win here, a draw. I don't know. But either way, it's going to be interesting to see how it ends.
Yes, sir. And those are your matchups for match day 8 in the Premier League. I got to say, I still think that Monday Night Football is being treated like our Thursday Night Football, like the North American football, where they kind of put the teams that are like, look, they're not good, but they need to get some prime time. Like we need these
more eyes on these guys.
yeah. They got to get some sort of screen time. So, yeah, we will see. But we will go ahead and dig into the top matches and headlines for the Premier League in match day 8. And, of course, we start with number 1, the Big Reds, Liverpool welcoming Manchester United.
You know it had to be this match. And this weekend, all across Europe, we have big matches at the number one spot of things to watch, which is really cool. It doesn't happen like this all the time, so don't get spoiled. The rivalry is always there between these two, and it's an even juicier matchup for all the storylines surrounding these two clubs at the moment. With Amorim's tenure continuously under scrutiny and Arne Slot in his first real slump as manager of Liverpool, something's got to give.
And we go on to number 2, Crystal Palace welcoming Bournemouth.
We know both sides are going to bring it, and we should expect goals in this one. The big story here is that if there's a winner, we can start to see who just might have more staying power at the top of the table where they both currently reside. Palace haven't finished above mid-table in years, and Bournemouth under Iraola finally broke that mid-table barrier last season. But now, can they push for Europe? That's the question.
And number 3, Sunderland welcoming Wolverhampton.
Wolves have already lost to one newly promoted side in Leeds, and they're now going into the Stadium of Light. It seems like they're slight underdogs here. This match will show us who Wolves are this season. A loss means they're probably looking at a relegation candidate or looking at being a relegation candidate. And for Sunderland, a win and a 6-pointer, and it's much closer to safety. And honestly, we might be thinking more mid-table. A win for Wolves, though, would show us that they may not be the worst team in the relegation scrap, and they might be able to claw their way out with their wolf claws.
Yeah, that
sure.
works. Yeah.
Why not?
But those are your top matches and headlines for Premier League Match Day 8. Going to be fun to see. And I mean, one of us has to keep sliding, or Manchester United has to get back in sliding form.
There's no way that you're worried. There's no way that you can be worried.
I mean, nothing screams like enthusiasm about this game either.
It's United have been horrible, man.
They've been better than us the past 2 weeks or 2 games.
I guess fair enough. It was interesting to see how Liverpool handled the match, like the losses, because I was watching I was listening to a podcast, and they were playing Slot's post presser, I guess we'll call it, and he just straight up went to like throwing his players under the bus. He didn't say any names, but he was just like, there's one person who just didn't track back, and it was like, damn, already, like you just lost 3 games, man. Chill. But I think it's just his style. And honestly, I mean, I don't think this. I'm going to bring it up because we are a podcast about European soccer and we got to talk about it. But I mentioned this last season. And again, I'm not saying that this is the case, but if we recall, up until this season, none of this was stuff that was slot built. It was all stuff he inherited. And now he has all the tools. Like they brought in almost $1 billion worth of things. And I think it was just too much at once. And, you start to lose that magic whenever you start to replace too many parts at once, right? In one off season. And I think that what Big Teeth German last coach Klopp had, what he had was special. And it was hard to break that even with him gone for just that 1 year. And so now, I mean, Vic, I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Do you think that this is just, too many moving parts, too many chefs in the kitchen, or what's going on?
Yeah, and I hate to equate anything to MLS, but Austin FC kind of did this as well. We had 3 brand new strikers, pretty much, a brand new forward, which were all great in their own ways. But when you get 3 people that pretty much do the same thing, put them on the same team, there's going to be some sort of conflict there. And that's kind of what I see. You have Isak and you have forget his name, Jesus.
Ekitike.
Ekitike there. They basically play the same spot, except, Ekitike can go on the left side every once in a while. But, once they get melded together, once they figure everything out, I think they could be absolutely dangerous. It's just taking way too much time than most of us thought. And
what I hate, though, is that y'all took Florian Wirtz away from me to be able to watch every week. And now he's not doing anything. Like he's not even, it's 8 games in. He has no goals, no assists. Like, come on.
He has great pressure on the ball. And, we're getting a lot out of him from that. But yeah, he has no goals, no assists, not what we signed him for. And also Salah is having a hard time fitting with these people as well. You haven't heard of Salah's name in forever either.
No. And actually he's been, out of shape, not shape. The guy's in tremendous shape, out of form, because he's starting to miss like shots that you like. Nah, Salah buries that every time he gets it. Just interesting. I mean, all of this to say, Manchester United are just way worse. Like, there's no way y'all lose this match. I'm not even trying to put any juju or nothing. No. I honestly can't see it.
Well, we will find out come Sunday, and I will be at BD Riley's. So if you see your boy there, come by. First pint of Guinness is on me. Hit me up and say what's up. And yeah, we'll see. See you guys at BD Riley's if anybody's there.
Well, DJ, hit our music. I think we've said it all, Vic. I think it is time to get the hell up out of here.
Well, let's do it then. Yeah, everyone, thank you for spending time with us and talking about some European football. Be sure to follow us on everything. Everything is at No Biz Soccer Podcast or No Business Soccer Podcast, except for TikTok, except for Twitter. That's at No Biz Soc Pod. Everyone, enjoy the football this weekend, and we will talk to you all very soon.
Peace.